And we are once again back with the CBC podcast. Believe it or not, we got things to talk about. I know, I
You
know.
sure?
It's been a week, but we found some topics because last week, the day the podcast went up was when all those leaks happened, so we couldn't really talk about it because the podcast was recorded 3 days before. Some people
Mhm.
were asking in the comments, "Why are we ignoring it?" I'm like, somebody pointed out, luckily, that we
Well,
pre-recorded.
well,
So you know,
it
Also,
was
Monster
that.
Hunter was that, right? Like, no one's
yeah,
Well,
paying
yeah,
attention
yeah,
to
yeah.
that stuff.
well, it was that, and some of the other comments are asking why are we talking about Marvel canceling shows or not actually going through with shows, and
Right, and again, that was all, like,
yeah,
after we recorded,
yeah.
so we're gonna kind of talk about all that in this, so, with before we get to that, though, we do have the mandatory introductions, which we're gonna get to right now. Of course, I am your host, Armin. You guys can find me over here on the link tree, wherever I am, all sorts of places where I post whatever. Of course, the main channel is here, and then there's the community tab where you will see videos go up. I think tonight is Tristan's, or as I
Mhm.
record this is Tristan's.
Mhm.
Then it'll be Mitch's. Then something will happen from Jared on the community tab, which then brings me to the man over here, Jared from the Nerd Academy.
Hello, hello. Yeah, I'm happy to be on. I was supposed to be on multiple times in the last few months and slept through it because I am not a gracious guest. I am, in fact, a sleepy boy. And I got up bright and early and I was like, I am not missing this. I am not going to be rude and feel bad about it for the rest of the day again. And give Mitch an opening to bust my balls about it. So yeah, I'm here and very very excited to talk about some stuff that I don't know everything we're talking about because Armin didn't send me the show notes today. So all of this will be news to me, even if
Show
it's news
notes.
I've already covered
The
on my
thing
own
is,
show.
you expect show notes. We throw the show together literally 30 seconds before we jump on here. So
It's true.
that's the
It's
prep
true.
Yeah,
time.
yeah, it really is.
Hey, it's okay. I've gone from being like meticulously written and typed out show notes to and
Uh-huh.
sending them to everybody who will be on the episode to there are some days where I just put two or three links in a Google Doc and go F
That's
it,
the
we do
last
it
time I
live.
was on your show. Literally, that's what it was. I was like, oh, thank God he's not making me read this time. Literally, like my heart just like flutters. I'm like, oh, I'm saved right now. I don't have to go read a paragraph from what somebody said.
And
Oh,
this is why Orange Man's in power.
it's true. It's true. So of course, see, it's good. Actually, I'll get to that after I intro everybody. But of course, we also got Tristan right here.
Yeah, same thing. Links should have some videos out pretty soon. It's just been lagging it and just been tired. But oddly enough, I know people have been asking. It's been raining here, and it's been pretty chilly in the morning. So
Yeah, that's. I mean,
California's wet. Wow. That's
yeah, I was surprised too. I woke up and it's just rain for once.
Well, someone else who I assume is always in rain status during the spring is Mitch, all the way down the corner.
no, actually.
What?
It's since last Thursday, it's actually been really hot.
Oh,
It's like late spring, early summer temperatures, but then it drops to like -1 in the evening, and it's terrible. But you can find me on the link trees at this part of the screen.
Yeah.
I will never learn at this point. It's all
it's like, see, I'm never gonna know which way it's supposed to be. It's always the opposite.
If I play both sides, I never lose.
I always come out on
Paraphrased.
top.
Mm.
See,
But yes,
He's palpitating
Monday
it.
we have Pro and Noob with a special guest, Scotty Jaro from the Bombadcast, talking about Evangelion. That should be up Monday.
Sweet.
Then Wednesday, fingers crossed. I need to actually edit everything because Monster Hunter's taken over my life. I'm gonna have my first impressions video for that game before a full big video on it later on. So
nice.
that's what I've got going on. You can find that
somewhere. So stay tuned for all that. They'll pop up on the tab when they process through correctly. So again, it's a slow rollout.
Through correctly.
Yeah, it's so annoying. I got to tag the channel, and it's like, oh, I don't know. Sometimes they might pop up. Sometimes they might not. I don't know. It's weird. But that's why it happens. But see, the good thing about this podcast is since Jared is here, right?
Yeah.
he's going to have an absolute terrible take that's going to deflect all of our bad takes. So we win.
I am just beguiled by where this Jared and his bad takes bit has come from.
Well,
I
you
mean, it's
see,
only come from you.
No, well, it all started with Wild Wild West takes, as you always have. So
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that movie. I love
Yeah.
that movie.
Well-
And I don't want to hear it from the guy I know who famously, and I did theater for so long, so I know stage right and stage left, so I can point at USOBs. I don't want to hear from the guy who I grew up listening to defend X-Men Origins Wolverine, and everybody and all of his cronies telling me I'm wrong for enjoying Cowboy Will Smith and a steampunk.
Look, I
have
I
never
watched
said you are wrong
Mecha
on that movie. By the
I
way,
watched it. I watched it too, and I did like Will Smith on it, but everything else, I was just.
Kenneth Branagh.
Oh, Kenneth Branagh.
That's so fun. Come on. Arliss Lovelace as a villain is so much fun. And listen, even if you don't like the movie, and I'm not gonna let this turn into the Wild Wild West cast, but come on, the song. You're gonna look at me and tell me that song doesn't rip. You're gonna look at me and tell me that song isn't
It's
incredible.
true. It was everywhere on the radio.
When I was younger, I loved it. Now, just sadness that I liked it.
You
It's just
outgrew.
sad. It's like, oh.
I'll never let it go. I will never let
Okay,
Wild Wild West
Jared,
go.
to be fair, is it possible for you to right now time slip 10 years into the past, into your 2015-ish Jared? Because I got a question, and
Yeah.
I'll know you're time slipping if you lie or not. What's better, Age of Ultron or Batman v Superman? We got him, boys. We got him. He's got to say Batman v Superman.
Okay. No, if I'm time slipping and I'm being honest, Age of Ultron, because I stood up and said better than Avengers, which is the thing that I was not doing internet stuff at the time.
Oh,
So
okay,
that's me
Avengers.
holding myself
Okay.
accountable. It's the only reason why you people know I ever said that. I turned 18 watching Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice in the theater, and I stood up once the credits rolled and said better than Avengers, because to this day I think the Avengers movies, in terms of like my favorites, are ranked backwards. So it's 4, 3, 2, 1. So I put Age of Ultron above the first Avengers.
I think I might be in the minority where I'm like Age of Ultron #1.
Wow.
That's my hot take.
Yeah.
Brave opinion.
I
Brave
know.
opinion.
I know.
And I won't
It's
shame
wild.
you for it, unlike some people.
Yeah, well, that's what you're here for.
I don't know who
Shame.
you were looking at there. No.
All of you. I was looking at the audience too.
Yeah. Oh,
I like Wanda Maximoff, just like put my fist through the fourth wall. Like,
oh, man. Well, speaking of fist through the wall, I guess that is going to bring us to our topics. And I did actually add one in here because Tristan brought up, people were asking about it, and I wasn't sure if we covered it, but no, we didn't. So let's get into our first topic, which is the Marvel Studios show cancellations, which they weren't so much out the gate, everything's canceled. It was like Brad
Shelved.
Winterbaum did Winterbaum did like 8 different interviews, and every interview he was like mentions another show and either says shelved, trying to figure it out, or we're done with that. And
Yeah, and that's what I was looking at the comments. They're saying this show and this show is not canceled. It's just shelved. I'm like, well, they're not doing it. That essentially what it is, especially like because they took like from what the comments were saying, like an example would be Moon Knight, and I'm like, they've been trying to do another one, but they said no, they're not doing it again. Like,
But
Moon
isn't
Knight
the
will
rumor
probably-
that Moon Knight's getting a movie though?
yeah, that is the
Yeah.
rumor.
and like what they said is like he might show up in something else, and then that's where the comments
He'll be in Doomsday.
we're rolling about you guys should stop talking about projects being canceled when they're not brought up or they're trying to reorganize and redo it again. And I'm like, for all intents and purposes, these certain projects are one and done for the most part.
Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate that that's where we are with Marvel Studios, but I think all of us know, especially Jared as the biggest Star Wars fan here, those budgets are so huge that Disney thought infinite growth permanently. And when you can't sustain infinite growth because that's not possible, you got to downsize, which is why like Mando and Grogu is a movie and not another season. because it would have been the same cost, and they know they're actually going to make money off of a film. You know, like it's
with the jury still being out as to whether or not we
Mhm.
still get a Bando season 4. Like
Yeah,
there
which
is
is
like they have
weird.
made it very clear that like this isn't necessarily the end of the show,
right.
which I'm very excited to see what happens. And I don't remember the full list of shows that either got shelved or got canned or is kind of being restructured again.
Nova, Strange Academy,
What was the last
Terror
one?
Inc. I think.
Yeah,
Terror,
that-
that's
yeah,
it.
that's one, yeah.
That was the one I always kept forgetting. No, I think that like, especially on the heels of like the big kerfuffle with Kathleen Kennedy over the past couple
Mhm.
weeks, where it was the, that scoop that she was leaving and that she sat down with Deadline and kind of ran through like, I'm not leaving Lucasfilm at all. If anything, I will be stepping down for the president position in the conceivable future, but I'm not going to stop producing. I'm not going to stop being involved. I'm going to be here to like guide whoever takes my place. And she was talking about like this weird level of scrutiny that Lucasfilm is always under. And, the person who interviewed her, whose name is escaping me for Deadline, was talking about, the weird expectations of a film president executive type. That standard kind of weirdly shifted because like Feige seemed bulletproof for
Right,
so
yeah.
long. And I am very much on the record of saying that in the year of 2020, when there is no new Marvel project hitting screens, be it silver or television, that Marvel fans speed ran in 1 year what it took Star Wars fans to do in 10, which is fully invent this like mythical before time when everything was perfect, everything was running smooth, everything was, peachy keen. And, Marvel fans convinced themselves that the Infinity Saga was immaculately planned from the beginning and there were no hiccups and there were no road bumps and nothing went wrong and nothing, And I do think that Marvel is beginning to have that Star Wars Lucasfilm level of like there are so many eyes on it that people can't help but go, what the hell is going on?
Yeah. Yep.
And like and again, this is a normal thing in the business of going, hey, we have this idea, we really want to do this, but like we can't quite make the blocks fit together.
Yeah.
And it is disappointing and it is frustrating when something gets announced. Or even if something is like not even announced, but like the trades inform us of it, and we know that it's in development. And now Brad Vinderbaum is put in the position where he has to acknowledge it because Hollywood Reporter and Variety, etc., are all reporting that it exists. He has to go, yeah, it existed in theory, and now we aren't quite doing something with it.
Yeah, that's another point to where even when we did talk about Marvel stuff getting canned, to where we even dabbled in with the DC stuff, and it's just the name of the game is that things will go through, will be kind of peachy keen, and other ones where things fall through because they have to reorganize, and the project they thought that they had that was foolproof wasn't, so they have to step away from it for a time or can it outright or change it into something else that they feel that is profitable, which is perfectly normal. It's it sucks for the fans of that particular IP that they want so very much, but it's sometimes it's just either a vision thing or a money thing. It's like you really can't fault the company for trying to go forward.
That's the thing with everything here. I have, as long as this channel has existed, especially when Marvel began Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and ABC started producing all the Defender shows, I've been saying the wrong way to handle this is movie budgets on TV shows because it's not sustainable. There are videos going back 5-10 years where I'm like, the TV model, $40 to $50 million a season is what you need to do. It's never going to work at $150, $200 million seasons. And people are like, well, yes, it is. It was never going to work. And we see that their new model is the old TV model. You need a yearly rollout, a new season at least every year, maybe a year and a half. You can't do a Netflix where, hey, you want Stranger Things? The last season, by the time the new one comes out, will be 5 years old. You cannot do that to sustain it. And Netflix, they don't make a lot. They also license a lot of stuff and buy up stuff to fill their gaps. Disney can't do that. So you're getting Alien Earth this summer. I guarantee you that show costs so much you're not going to get a sequel unless they can reuse a lot of sets. And we look at the Marvel shows that were canceled or backburned. I want Strange Academy more than anything that was scrapped. But the reality of it is that show was going to cost 120, 150 million. And for the budget of that show, they can make 3 more seasons of Daredevil. Which one do you think they're going to do? You know, like it's
that's why I gave like the example of something like Daredevil is, why don't you just use one of the characters that's hot right now because of my rivals is Squirrel Girl. Doreen can be used as a shuttle to explore the universe more because she can do fantastical things, but she can also do mundane everyday things, just being herself, you know, a girl with a tail talking to people around New York City, seeing what other things are going on. You know, you may have Daredevil show up in an episode and just talking about things. You may have She-Hulk in another episode talking about things. You may have a whole bunch of other characters talking about things, and you can probably fit it all into a lower end budget because for all intents and purposes, I've yet to see like a slice of life type of thing on in a Marvel setting. So.
Absolutely. I think the connecting it to She-Hulk, like in the way that you did, like, you know, like Jennifer could show up, like She-Hulk is the closest we've come to like a slice of life, you know, kind of like just, I don't want to say procedural comedy, but you know, like, you know, it's a workplace comedy, you know, it's like she's a lawyer and it's funny and whatnot, but like, and that's the other thing is that like, I think that like you were saying, Armin, like this bizarre model that Marvel saddled itself with, where it was like, we're just going to take a bunch of things that we had pitched as movies and, you know, stretch them out over 8 episodes. You know, some of those have worked better than others, you know, like, and some of them play into the TV format really well. Like WandaVision doesn't work if it's a movie. It hinges on being television. By virtue of like what it's doing and how it's playing with genre and format. But like, you know, Moon Knight, I like the Moon Knight show. I said before, I was like, this would have been so much better as a movie because these first 3 episodes were a slog. I think the same can be said for Ms. Marvel. You know, like I love that show, and you know, Aman Vellani as Kamala Khan is just home run, legendary casting. But like the pacing of that show is buck wild.
And that's why now, like, was it Punisher is a special presentation because like we were talking in the last episode, Armin was saying like, for as good as Punisher is, you don't need a season of Punisher because it's just going to be people talking, then Frank show up, you know, take out some guys, then leave, talk again, and then finally you get the payoff of Punisher just going ham.
I'll say it's a hot take. I don't think Punisher's a character that can sustain a movie or a show.
I was about to say, I think he's a much better supporting character. And that's just my take. Like, I'm sure there are people who are much more well-read with Frank and his history.
The hottest take I got as a huge Punisher fan who's read everything since about 19 whatever, Punisher Warzone is the closest you get to unhinged Punisher, but nobody liked that film because it wasn't Tom Jane. And Tom Jane's Punisher messed up a whole generation by making him a cop, and which is why they now sport that logo. Like, John Bernthal is good. That Punisher is great, but
never made that connection. I never made that connection that it's that is like a, you know, people like kids my age for the longest time didn't understand web shooters,
right?
Because it just came out of Toby. I never made that connection until right now because I think I've maybe seen that movie like once, and like practically a decade ago. But but I never made that connection that the amount of people who just saw the first Punisher film
that's it,
went, Frank's a cop. I've always assumed that people just like saw him mowing people down on Netflix.
It happens in a lot of things. Like another thing is like people thought for Justice League, the animated cartoon, they thought John Stewart was the original Green Lantern, and then you see Hal Jordan and it's like, who's this white guy on here?
Dude, when I got exposed to the Flash, really, when I heard Wally West wasn't the Flash, I was like, who the hell's Barry Allen? What? No, Wally's the Flash. They're like, no, it's Barry. I was like, I don't care about this dude. He's ancient. It's not funny.
You think that's a deep cut when you say, oh, I was here when Jay was.
Jay Garrick,
who's that?
So, again, we did want to touch upon the cancellations just a little bit more to address all that, but we do got another topic that's it kind of folds off of this into the bigger picture, which of course is Marvel Studios film output. So at the most recent earnings call, Marvel Studios had their slate up, and upcoming Disney release dates. And while they reshuffled many things and Spider-Man was added for, July of next year, that November date, which was again supposed to be Blade, but Blade was removed, was not removed. And Disney said they're sticking with a Marvel project for that. So in 2026, we're getting Doomsday, Spider-Man, something in November. We don't know what it is. Reportedly, Black Panther 3, Shang-Chi 2, or something else. Maybe if they can squeeze in Doctor Strange. That's a lot of content again.
No, it is, and it's a weird thing because I know not so much on the Marvel side. Like people were really mad at what was it? What was the princess name? It's like Tiana from Princess and the Frog. Her animated stuff got canned, and
awful.
It's just. But back to the Marvel thing, I'm not entirely sure what they're gonna use for that in the whole grand scheme of things, because everything's been shuffled so much, and they reshuffled again. Is that's why for Captain America, I'm just I don't even know if I want to know what's going on, because for Mackie, he did the best he could, and he carried that movie on my take. That's just something I'm just worried about what's going forward at this point in time.
You bring that up, let's say hypothetically, because now we're hearing Spider-Man 4 is a Battle World film, possibly Spider Island, and the second film would, I guess, have to be it as well. So is Black Panther going to be Battle World? Wait, did you miss
I have
this
not
news,
heard
Jared?
any of the Spider Island rumors. What?
I've not heard this. What's going on?
Okay, so this is
go.
a weird one. So Spider-Man is still coming out. We know that. Then it was reported that the film is going to be part of multiverse after all those leaks, because we see everything, right? And reportedly, the new Spider-Man film, according to, I believe it was Daniel RPK to report it first, and then other insiders backed him. They're looking at doing Spider Island, where Manhattan is a battle world, and then it's just going to be Spider Island.
Oh, okay. So they're fusing the battle world instance
into
of
Spider Island.
of 616 with Spider Island itself. So
if it's in the aftermath of Doomsday, I don't mind that.
Yeah.
I think we all would like a smaller scale,
Yep.
Here's Peter living in the choice that he made. I think that to use Daredevil as kind of a jumping off point, in the way that between Daredevil season 3 and now the first season of Born Again, the idea of Matt going all in on being Daredevil in season 3. And it's Matt Murdock does not deserve to rejoin the world of the living. I should commit myself fully to this mission. And then Born Again, spoilers, him casting that aside and going, I'm actually going to be Matt full time now, and Daredevil be damned. I was okay, I want to see a movie where Peter's grappling with that choice, really for the first time.
So you just want to see if we do get a grounded fourth movie, is that Peter in essence is not there. You're going to be seeing him as Spider-Man for most of the movie.
Sounds like it's
and front loading the Spider-Man. That he's front loading the Spider-Man persona, and that's what I wanted. But if it's coming out after Doomsday, then you really have to make the aftermath of whatever happens in Doomsday count.
Right.
Which is why I get it.
Right, which then makes me question, if you're doing that and they truly are going to do Battle World, and you got another film coming out that November before Secret Wars, are you going to make Black Panther 3 a Battle World film? Because to me, World War Hulk seems more fitting, right? Wouldn't that make sense?
But they can't do that, can they?
Probably not, yeah. You probably have to make it some other character and World War Hulk.
Yeah, which I don't think people appreciated Sam's movie being The Incredible Hulk 2.
No. Yeah.
No,
I think World War Hulk should be an Avengers movie. I think that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Avengers World War Hulk is a fun, that's just a fun title to say, period. That is
well, it's a fun title that was 20-something years in the making, so
it
has to be good.
I think that when it comes to the release dates and everything, I'm very interested in, again, I've never bought into the Marvel is back, Marvel is dead stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think there has been a precipitous drop off in quality the way people pretend there has been. Again, I think that we are looking at the kind of like Star Wars fandomification of the MCU, where like people just gaslight themselves into thinking there is a flawless before time. That said, some of the only thing with the release dates that I'm still hung up on is I'm really afraid that Disney is going to not learn their lesson from Solo: A Star Wars Story, which I know is which I know is a like cross that Armin and I kind of like singularly
he loves
bear.
it, man. He loves it.
I know, yeah, but like I love Solo as well. I think it's incredible, and I'm really hoping that Lando movie or show with Donald Glover happens, because it's going to be the spiritual successor to Solo.
Mhm.
But I'm really afraid of, you know, what happened there, because you had Avengers Infinity War, which was on a record-breaking reign of terror for all of May. Then you had Incredibles 2. Then you had Deadpool 2. And sandwiched in between all of that was Solo: A Star Wars Story, a great film that, and I hate this mentality, but like it was the Star Wars movie nobody asked for. You know, there was an audience that was like, oh, Rogue One, like let's see like this like kind of like grounded like war drama about like how the rebels got the Death Star plans. I'm afraid that Mandalorian and Grogu is going to get screwed by Avengers Doomsday, and I really hope that's not the case, because I just cannot fathom how you can think that putting these two next to each other is a good idea. And they already moved Spider-Man a little bit to accommodate Nolan's Odyssey movie, so they're not pitting Tom Holland
what's
against
happening with
himself.
Spider-Man? They're not allowed to do any IMAX screens. Nolan has all IMAX screens around the world for 6 weeks. Spider-Man is getting delayed, which is why I keep saying they're probably delaying in September, October, maybe even November. But if there's another film coming out in November, it's cannibalizing everybody again, because October we got the Batman Part 2. Like, it's
allegedly.
Yeah. I'm not believing that till I see it.
Yeah, but there's one thing I do know: like, if they move Spider-Man to like December, we know it can do numbers, because it's Spider-Man.
Yeah,
like people will go to the movies to see Spider-Man in December. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. Preferably, probably at San Diego Comic-Con to get a little bit more information.
You would
most
think.
likely. So.
Okay, Mitch, what's your take on this, and what do you think they would toss out in a November-December time slot?
I don't know. I don't even know what they're cooking up at the minute. It's all over the king place. And what November-December between Avengers or like?
But yeah, it's between
or
Doomsday and Secret Wars. So,
I honestly don't know. I think Spider-Man would be a good fit for it, just because No Way Home did quite well there.
Right. Yeah, I think they'd have to delay at this point Spider-Man into that slot, which is why they're holding it. Again, reports are stating it's gonna be Black Panther 3, which I hope not. I don't want that to be a Battle World film. That would just be.
I think Black Panther 3 could be a really interesting Battle World film.
Man, what, you just got a bunch of different T'Challas and see who tests the best with the audience?
I mean, let's be honest here. That's going to be exactly what Spider Island, if it is Spider Island, that's exactly what that's going to be. You'll have Spider-Gwen, you'll have Miles. It won't be, oh, people are spiders. It's, here's a bunch of Spider-Men.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what
Mitch, do you think you and I will finally be served in live action?
No.
And our boy?
No.
Okay. I'm going to hold on hope like an idiot.
We can't even get Nova. There is zero chance we're going to get an Octavia Spider-Man.
Sony's going to find out that there was a superior Spider-Man, and they're going to be like, okay, we got to do that, but we got to botch it. And then they're going to do that. So
yeah, Kane.
Don't even joke. Don't even joke. I will. Oh my god. I will burn theaters to the ground.
Like, here's like the I guess the percentage of any of the other technically spiders getting their own like actual like time in a movie. For like an example would be Spider-Gwen. What one of the original creators of that particular character said in talks about Marvel is that Marvel doesn't want to give Sony any ideas or villains or storylines for that particular character, which is why Gwen is just spinning on its wheels, because Marvel as a whole just said, no, don't create any new characters, don't create any new stories for her, just keep reusing what we can use because we don't want to have Sony being able to use that on the big screen and potentially ruin it, like how they've been ruining a lot of other characters for Marvel because they want to use those characters. But then Sony's like, we'll do that first because we need the money.
Yeah.
Such a bizarre relationship.
Marvel needs to start introducing Spider-Man villains in Avengers comics and then making them Spider-Man villains after just to screw with them. You know, it's like,
they'll still get it. They'll still get it.
True. No.
What I am really excited about with the amount of movies that will be sandwiched between Doomsday and Secret Wars is that, like, and we were talking about this on the most recent Nerd Academy, where for me, you know, I think that like when all of this started out with what we knew was coming, we knew there was a movie called Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And we knew that there was going to be some time in reality hopping with Loki. And we knew that Wanda was messing about with the multiverse. And because of all the leaks and the trades, we knew that like there was going to be multiversal nonsense in Spider-Man. Is that there are these kind of like 4 quadrants of how is the multiverse going to finally fracture? And then assuming that the rest of the MCU would be putting it back together and it would end with Avengers. What I like and what I hope is that with the amount of stories in between that we could be getting, that this saga was about watching the multiverse slowly fall apart, that there wasn't one single, and now the seam has burst and reality is just, you know, a mishmash of different ideas. I love the idea that like, okay, the multiverse saga has been building to this, and now we get to live in these disparate realities for several movies. You know, like it's like with, you know, Avengers Infinity War into Endgame, you know, there were 2 Marvel movies in between them, but they were both loosely Ant-Man and the Wasp is a prequel, you know, just in terms of like, you know, the movie is happening right before the events of Infinity War, and then Captain Marvel throws us all the way back to like 94 or whatever. So like it very much avoids having to deal with what was happening,
which is like
in the immediate aftermath, which we now know was a whole like 5 years of insanity.
Right, and we got a glimpse of that. It's like, oh, we get to see what Hawkeye was doing as Ronin. You're like, that's cool, but we get 5 minutes of it maybe in Hawkeye.
Which is even weirder because for the casual crowd, they won't know what MC Wanda has been up to because they won't read the comic. That there's a comic, the TVA, where they actually captured MCU Wanda, and she's in cold storage right now.
Can we not act like comics are canon?
No, they're canon.
We learned this lesson from the 2010s. All right, the comics that Marvel put out are not canon to the MCU.
No, I'm saying it's canon because it'd be fun. It'd be funny.
No,
that's why. Yeah.
DC keeps saying their like stuff is canon, but we know that's gonna.
Yeah, but James Gunn just shits out of his mouth.
The James Gunn does. Remember, guys.
Oh, I don't like.
He only announces projects that the scripts are complete and are gonna get made. 70% has been canceled, but yes.
Yeah.
Still don't know how those animations and video games are going to tie into the whole DCU as a whole.
Well, I have a fun fact for you, Tristan.
The games never will. There's your fact. But okay, going off of that,
not everybody can be Star Wars, guys. Not everybody can be the granddaddy of all of this multimedia nonsense.
The last 2 Star Wars games are mid.
Okay, Jedi Survivor is great. Outlaws is fine, but Survivor's incredible.
Outlaws.
I'll be honest, I forgot Outlaws existed. I was just talking about the Jedi games because I just wanted that rise.
Here's the problem you have with Outlaws. It's the solo territory where it's the least interesting thing for people because it's like there's no lightsabers, you're underpowered, you got to sneak around. It's like that's not the fantasy. Even
that's not even the problem. It's Ubisoft. Like,
they got a bit of that.
It's a little bit it's a little bit of everything. Mostly the weird gameplay mechanics that Ubisoft implemented, which didn't need to be there in the first place.
Which they patched out, but way too late. Way too late.
Can you still like not carry a gun up a ledge? Is that still
you can now? You can now.
Oh my god! Wow.
Oh, like a pickup, like you
yeah.
God, dude, I encountered so many game-breaking bugs playing Outlaws that like it put me in such a sour mood. Like I've talked about this before. The big finale of the game, where spoilers for a game I know nobody else is going to play at this point. you go and you fight, Zarek Besh, and you take out whatever, and you're in space, and oh no, the Empire's showing up in mass. There was like 3 Star Destroyers, and you're in this like rinky-dink little rust bucket, and you're fighting for your life. And then whatever crime syndicate you have the best relationship with shows up to like bail you out. It's great, and it's cinematic, and it's incredible. For me, it was Crimson Dawn, and it's so cool. It's a great finale. It's even better when the sound works, I guess. Because for me,
oh, that's what you encountered. Okay.
Yeah.
For me, the only noise I could hear, not even dialogue during the cutscenes, the only audio I had was the sound of my missiles deploying and my blaster cannon firing from my controller. Like all I had was the sound of like that. Chung, chung,
so I was going to say
that's all I got. That is
so
all I had for the
that's
entire
actually
finale.
was a common bug if you had the controller sound enabled. Because I encountered it at the beginning of the game. I disabled it, never once had an issue again. But again, it was these little things that got in the way. It was, and that's the Disney seal of quality.
Yeah, that's why, like, if you ask someone now to play it, they'd try, well, yeah, it's a pretty good game. I don't know why people are, harping on it so much. And then he goes, well, you weren't there at the beginning, were you?
Yeah.
It's like Cyberpunk. It got better, but it took 2 years, You're like, well...
I mean, I didn't get to
Assassin's Creed. That's what it is.
I mean, speaking of Ubisoft, like I didn't get to Assassin's Creed Unity until like 5-6 months after it came out when I got an Xbox One for Christmas that year. So like, I did not encounter like Arnold's face like flipping inside out in the middle of the cutscene.
That was hilarious.
Bro, I went to climb the Eiffel Tower and my character shot to the moon. Literally, just flew up and the console crashed. I was like, "What's that?" Okay, is that the Animus glitching? What's happening here?
Bro, that's like my favorite video game glitch of all time. I never personally encountered it, but I love watching videos of it as a teenager. Was the Jackdaw Ascension glitch in Black Flag, where like the ship would just like float into the heavens and the crew would just scatter off of it, but also be floating alongside it in a full T pose, and it just looked like the rapture was happening in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
I never had that.
This is just how it goes sometimes. It's how it goes. So, all right. Well, get off of that because we got another big important topic to talk about here. So, guys, did you hear that Daredevil is back? He's been born again.
Yeah.
It's like the third time Matt Murdock has stopped being Daredevil in 4 seasons of this show. So, they're kind of retreading some of the same grounds, but besides that, it is top tier and the best Daredevil we've ever gotten. But he does too many acrobatics because people are stuck in the Netflix ways of he can't do anything.
From what
I wouldn't know. I haven't watched it yet. So.
No, I've watched most of the first episode, and from what I've seen from other people's, because I wanted to see the reaction, is that people are harping on the CG for a couple scenes, and particularly with Matt doing a flip, and it's bad. But other than that, it should be great. But what I don't get is why you it's good to criticize, but why are you like zeroing in on one thing? It's like you zeroing in on
there's nothing else, and I just want to complain.
Yeah, on a bad screenshot of that one frame of that particular thing, but everything else is fine.
So it's like the thing I'll play devil's advocate, even though I love it. I think it's the best one shot they've done so far. Yeah, devil's advocate, I know, but like it's the best one shot they've done in Daredevil so far. But the problem is he's doing the thing like he gets on top of rooftops and he's running, right? And you can tell it's all CG. And then when he shoots the thing and he jumps up, you can see exactly when it transitions to Charlie Cox live action for 2 seconds before he shoots off again. And then when he's fighting Bullseye, he's doing like side flip, like Pele kicks. It does look a little weird and too CG at moments, but what were people expecting? Like that. It's unnatural.
I mean, probably what we had for the last 3 seasons, I imagine.
So just tossing lazy punches.
I think that that opening action scene has caught the ire of a lot of people for like I think it's a really weird like cocktail of things all happening in like an unfortunate order for the sake of this show. I think that part of it is the issue that like everybody knew going in about Foggy. You know,
Yeah.
if you paid attention to the trailers, you could tell. If you paid attention to the
Yep.
way they were caging in interviews, you could tell. If you listened to the leaks, you could tell. And by then, Foggy is shot and is bleeding out, and like you have an idea, even if you somehow avoided all those spoilers. So I think that without the emotional distraction of oh god, what's happening with Foggy? Is he going to be okay? You are fully locked into the fight. And you and I think that even if you don't fully appreciate what's going on in the fight, you understand that like the fight is kind of like emblematic of what's going on the ground. But you removed the tension from it. So now all we can do is focus on the fight. And I will say that, like, unfortunately, I don't normally harp on CGI stuff. I think normally it's a lot of bad faith, whatever. Here, I do think that like there is a rubberiness to the way Matt is moving in that fight. Like there are some kicks that just like the way his body moves,
It's
doesn't look right. And it's because we have so much footage of Charlie Cox Daredevil like in these just bare knuckle brawls that are just shot super
and also
close
like
up.
it's not even up to par with what he does in She-Hulk. Like that was way superior with CG. And again, in this, it does have a little bit of that claymation, but also put in the fact that he's using his billy clubs in a way we've never seen. Well, you got Bullseye in there throwing kunai like crazy into people's jugulars, and you're just seeing blood splatter everywhere. You're like, bro, this is Bullseye. Like it's not like season 3 where they're just fighting in a church.
Watching this whole like this opening sequence for me is actually pretty good. I was focused on the fight and seeing what Bullseye was doing. Matt just tanking the kunai. I'm like, dude, is he gonna stop and take him out? No, he's gonna keep going and keep going. And the culmination of hearing Foggy's heart stop. Well, I thought he was just gonna keep wailing on Bullseye and not just throw him off the building. It was like that. Like it brought me in wanting to see more of the season. I wasn't really too focused on the bad CG for the fight.
That's the thing. Like once that first part happens, right? It's like 15 minutes. The rest of episode 1 and rest of episode 2 is all the stuff that was before the reshoots, and you can tell because their hair is different. They look younger because the new stuff was shot after, and like it's slow, and they barely ever mention any of that stuff. And then they get to the courtroom scene with Wilson Bethel's Bullseye, and you're like, oh, now this is modern because you can tell that they changed. Like it's a Frankenstein of 2 different shoots separated by a year, and you can tell. But it doesn't take away from the quality of the rest of the show because I like it. Like the reason is in there for him to retire and do what he does. So,
and I think a lot of the people like harping on the fight choreography, like again, like this, I don't think the CGI is great. I think the choreography is still good. The choreography in that like the fight that ends the second episode is remarkable. Like it is just that great, like Matt just being the guy who again it's that Batman effect of like I won't kill you, but you're gonna be crawling out of here when I'm done with you.
Yeah, that one dude is a vegetable now, 100%.
Yeah, well, the guy like body slams, snaps the guy's arm completely in half. The thing I do love about like the practical choreography in the opening fight that like stuck with me is that while Foggy is still holding on and he can still hear his heartbeat, Matt saves Bullseye during the fight. Like Matt throws like a big haymaker and Bullseye kind of does that I've gone to my full height and I'm twisting around and Matt yanks Bullseye back from the ledge. Now he pulls him in to start hitting him again, but it's very clearly that Daredevil, like, I am not going to let your death be by my hand. However, you're still going to get these hands. And I love the way that, like, once he hears Foggy's heart go out, he just his hands on Bullseye's shoulders and he's screaming, why? And then he just kind of looks up and Mitch already cursed several times, so I can get away with it now. And it's just the way that Matt just so effortlessly just goes, fuck him, and just like tosses it. Like that is so much better than like I'm gonna throw you. It's like I said, it's just that fuck him.
Literally during that moment when I saw the body dropping and then it hits and the thud is the only noise you hit, I out loud and Shay did it at the same time. We were both like, what the fuck? Like it was a shocking moment. You're like, nope, that I did not expect that moment to go. Like, again,
And it's
I
how
get the
casually
complaints,
Matt
but
does it that really,
yeah,
really
that's
sells
it.
the moment.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is like for like as a whole for all this that you think, because people are saying like with Marvel, they're saying like they would never do like M-rated stuff, and then we see with Wolverine and Deadpool, and then we see again with Daredevil Born Again is that they're fully committed to this, and that we will start seeing more and more projects like this because for a long time people have thought that since Disney at the helm, you're going to keep things either PG or PG-13 because they're not
Oh,
they're
no.
afraid of their own image, that they're not going to go into that corner. So that's why I'm like more excited to see more projects of that. That's why I am sad that we're probably never going to see that Blade movie that I always wanted. So yeah.
I still have hope. I still have hope it's coming eventually. It's just we gotta,
Mm.
it's like the Lucasfilm scrutiny thing. Where like
Mm.
I don't think we as the audience have ever been intended to have this much foreknowledge about these
Right.
projects.
Yeah.
And on some level, it's exciting and it's great because we get the opportunity when things are going according to
Yeah.
plan to be like, oh, look at this, this is so
Yeah.
exciting. This is whoa. But like the flip side of that is like when there are production woes, we know everything. But when it comes out and it's good, we forget. Again, like look at the way Rogue One gets glazed. That went through just as much. That went through just as much strife and reshoots as like 2016 Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
it's true. Yeah.
It's like for certain people, it's very interesting to do research and look into like projects that could have been and seeing how much work was into it, and it goes along the way, and it goes to the 11th hour, and for some reason, can't do it anymore because some exec didn't like it because they didn't have their name attached to it, and then you get hung up on what could have been, what we could have just had if that one person just swallowed their pride and said, okay, just let it go through, and that's what usually happens. But that part intrigues me, and I like watching videos or even making videos on topics like that of what could have been if we had certain things go through instead of getting roadblocked by others.
Yeah. I mean, again, like the whole Daredevil discourse to me doesn't make sense. This is to me the best Daredevil's been outside of She-Hulk because that show got him almost perfect. Like that is Matt Murdock from the comics. This is the darker angle on that, and it works. Like
Matt is dark on one aspect, and another aspect people like to ignore is that he's a man slut. That's just what it is. What he is.
Don't shame him for that.
I didn't shame him. I just gave him a moniker. That's all I did.
Oh no, Tristan, I think you're right. I think that Matt Murdock, like a lot of the more complicated characters in like the comic book pantheon, he is so multifaceted, and that comes from there being decades of work written about him. That the easy like angle, for lack of a better term, is to do Catholic guilt with a complex moral code that even he doesn't quite understand, but really strives toward. Like that makes for the most compelling, like prestige TV. He is also a very kind and funny and charming and down to do whatever kind of guy. That it is hard to marry those things. It was like the conversation about Batman for so long. Is it like, okay, this angle's the detective, this angle is like the brutal Avenger, this angle is campy, this angle is whatever. And it's trying to get to a marriage of those things. And I'm really hoping that by the time we reach the end of Daredevil Born Again, or at the very least season 1 would be nice, is that we get a Matt Murdock who like that is just as much the She-Hulk version and that is as it is the Netflix one. Because if you take both of those, that is who he is in the comics.
And also
it is the guilt and the complexity.
People have missed because the pilot episode jumps forward a year. Daredevil Born Again now takes place after New Year's 2027. And people are trying to be like, well, where does She-Hulk fit in? It's not canon. She-Hulk fits in before Foggy dies. That's
exactly what I was saying.
Like, it's so easy to once you just think about what they tell you about how much time has passed and Fisk running for mayor and winning and now being mayor. Like, it's such a simple thing. People are like, again, I think people are too fixated on hate She-Hulk because agenda or whatever to look at the past.
It's not just that, but people want to be told specifically, like on the screen, that this certain amount of time has passed, so
Yeah.
they exactly know, the exact date, time that where the world has shifted to.
So I will
I'm
mention
not
this.
sure if
that
people needed an actual direct, like, hey, it's
You'd be
2027
surprised.
or
No,
not, because
you'd be surprised.
no, because you think about it, right? The MCU up
Mhm.
until Endgame, everybody knew. It's like, cool, this
Mhm.
movie's 2012, this movie's 2014,
Right.
this movie's 2017. It takes place in the year it came out. We hit Endgame, they take a 5-year jump. I ain't got a fucking clue where they are anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, Black Panther was 27, but the movie after it was 25. Like, they dropped the ball on the whole timeline thing, and it's insanely hard now to actually keep up to date with the dates and everything.
What
So
you say, I can look at everything up to Endgame and tell you chronologically how it goes without a problem.
yeah,
But after Endgame, I'm like, so Spider-Man,
it's like,
so, and then,
Endgame
yeah,
to No Way Home, like, because obviously No Way Home is the epilogue to everything. Like, yeah,
right,
we know where that happens, but like
right,
everything else, it's
and
where does Miss Marvel take place and everything?
right, yeah.
They tell us, but that you only kind of
Bro,
have to
the
look
only
at the date
reason
on a
I know
truck.
exactly, yeah, the only reason I know when it takes place is because they lined it up with the year Ramadan was in when it premiered because it was in real time. I was like, oh,
True, yeah.
that makes sense to me because my family or half my family, does it, and I was like, oh, okay, and now it's even harder because you got to account for the TV shows that were Netflix, and
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
timeline
yeah.
canon.
But
You're like,
even then, like, they played by the same rules.
they did, yeah.
I can't remember where they actually finished up on. I think it was 2017.
Literally, right as Infinity War begins, that's where Daredevil
Yeah.
season 3 ends. So it's like right there,
Yeah, that's what
also-
I thought. But it's
with the canonicity issue with She-Hulk as well. Like, I think that I do think it kind of like very neatly, like if you're paying attention, like where Matt is as a character, like it's not uncommon for Karen Page and Matt Murdock to kind of be on again, off again.
Yep.
So like I think there is a wide open window for Matt to be in San Francisco to go get his new suit, the ketchup and mustard one, and he gets up to some shenanigans with She-Hulk. They sleep together. He has his iconic walk of shame.
stride of pride. I'll have
the
you
stride
know.
of pride. The stride of
Thank
pride.
you.
You're right. The stride of pride. Because I too would have a kind of like skip in my step. Comes back to Hell's Kitchen. He patches things up with Karen again. And he's like, "Hey, while I was out there, like, did you see that Lady Hulk on the TV? Yeah, she's really cool. She also has a practice. Where does Karen end up? San Francisco."
Exactly.
So, like, I think that there is room to wiggle there to go, yeah, like Matt went there, linked up with She-Hulk, hooked up with She-Hulk, became friends with Jen Walters, came back, told Karen about it, and now they're patched up and they're a couple again, at least until, of course, tragedy strikes. And then she goes out that way. Like, I am very much sticking my flag on the ground of Karen Page is working for Jennifer Walters right
Same.
now.
Yep,
I love that
same.
idea so much.
Same. 100%. I'm there with you. At least in the same law firm she works for, So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's it makes sense. So
I can't remember the name of the law firm, but I almost called
the
it
same place.
mm.
That's messed up of Matt.
I mean, hey, if everybody's mature about it, there you can make it work. But
Like, since when is Daredevil a harem?
when I went to try to say the name of the law firm Jennifer works for, and I couldn't remember it, so I accidentally almost said Farrar and Ball, but I was like, that's not right because that's the one Mark Bankston works at.
Yeah, figure it out. So look,
knowledge fight joke, got it in, guys. Before the hour
Daredevil over, maybe we'll have Jared back on, have the entire conversation about the entire series. I think that'd be good to kind of circle back around to this and see where it lands.
Yeah.
But for now, we are going to jump onto our last official topic on this show, which is all the leaks that happened right as the podcast hit last week, which we couldn't cover. So Doctor Doom, Council of Doom, Doctor Strange is his like right-hand jester. They captured Bucky. Yelena is an enforcer enslaving the locals. He's married to Invisible Woman. Franklin Richards is right there. dude, this concept art hit me like a train multiple times. I was like,
Yeah.
this can't be real. This can't
And
be real.
Someone has
so much.
just read Hickman's Secret Wars. That's all that is.
Yeah, that's all it was.
Yeah,
It's like,
it
wow.
is.
It's literally
Yeah.
just we're doing Hickman. Like, cool.
And how funny
It's
is
exactly
it? We've been
what I
saying they're
wanted.
going to do Hickman's since the moment they announced
Of
Secret
course.
Wars. We've
I
all
mean,
been saying
if
that.
anyone honestly thought they were ever going to do Secret Wars 1 or 2, which to be fair, 2's directly follows on from 1.
Yeah.
There's no plot there. It's just, hey,
Yeah.
we made a planet in space. Come, we're gonna fight.
Because like it was weird. Like people were saying, they're gonna do Battle War 1 or 2, preferably 1, because technically it's the more famous one. I'm like, if they're gonna do one, they're gonna do Secret Wars 2015 because that's the one that
it has a
actually
plot.
it has an actual story to it.
They haven't done any of it so far, but
Yeah.
it's the one with the plot to it.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, there's also so much of the concept art that I'm still seeing stuff I didn't see when it dropped. Dropped.
Yeah, because there was so much
fell out of the sky.
Yeah.
But
what
it's
was
so
interesting
much.
to me to see is their own version of the Young Avengers
I knew you were going to do
champion.
that.
yeah.
Up just to hurt me, I swear.
Yeah, you have them all there talking, and it included was it Wong was in it, I think.
Okay, so we got Wong,
Wong and
Star-Lord.
Yeah.
We got
Kate Bishop, Stature. I'm never calling that girl Stinger.
Stature.
Wiccan Speed, and then of course the one that doesn't belong there in the slightest.
And then we got Dupe. We got Dupe.
Oh yeah, they got duped. They saw the lone X-Men in the corner.
Man,
It's
this
so
is
funny.
like
And
this
it's like
Will's
Feige-
there too, right?
Yeah,
In
he's
the-
like,
in the
yeah,
cantina?
you saw Feige saw that, and he went, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. You know, skip everybody else. We got Dupe, and we got Kamala Khan, X-Men.
Don't like it. Don't like it. Don't want it.
And also, like, the other factor in this with all the concept art, right, is you got that whole like Hulk world angle where there's just like hulked out children, hulked out like bar maidens, so Hulk and Sakaar and She-Hulk. Like, bro, that one was the one that got me the most hype. Probably again because it's She-Hulk, and I absolutely love that character from the
Same.
comics and the series. So like, dude, that got me just all in. I was like, whatever this is, I need this in the film. I
was
need
gonna say,
more of this.
It sucks that it leaked,
Yeah,
but I need this to be the Secret Wars movie.
yeah.
If Secret Wars does not end up like this, I think Marvel dead. At least to me. At least to me. I'm just gonna say if they screw it up, I'm
because
done.
Mitch is like, we're calling it time of
Yeah.
death.
Clocking
because,
out.
like, with these concept arts, so like I'm wondering, are they gonna, if they're gonna go this far, are they gonna do, you know, the confrontation between Reed Richards and Doom with with the Molecule Man? They're talking to them, seeing, you know, who's going to actually win and make an even fight, because for some reason none of them can get him a sandwich for some odd reason.
I mean, he can do what he wants. He can't get his own sandwich. Like, you know.
I mean, he's in that
Lazy
little
bum.
ball thing, and he's asking for food every time someone comes up saying, "Hey, you got some food for me?"
That's
Next time.
exactly why.
But
He's
next
not gonna
time
be
never
in it.
happens, man. Next time never happens.
So
Check this out. Like, okay, Jared, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say I didn't see, again, like there's so much going on in all that concept art that like maybe I didn't notice Sue at Doom's side, or maybe that was its own piece that I didn't see. I just like, I'm curious about that Reed angle, Tristan, because like I am still a hardliner that like this is not Victor Von Doom. This is a fallen Tony Stark. So like, as much as I can't believe I'm saying this, I almost don't want the final confrontation to be between Reed and Doom, because I don't know what that would be like. And granted, like, I'm the superior Spider Mark, but like I there's almost a part of me that wants that final confrontation to be between Peter and like the fallen Tony.
I was just gonna say, I think it is. I think that's what's gonna happen. You're gonna do
I
the
think
exact
that's how
same
it should
thing,
go.
just put the characters out. Yeah.
Because I was just saying, because like how far they're gonna go with it, because with
Yeah.
final confrontation with Reed and Doom, it's basically them fighting over who is actually superior, and Doom, for better or for worse, internally agreeing that Reed was the best option, that for survival and a rebirth of the universe, everyone should have rallied behind Reed and not him, because he is the correct choice, and that through both of them they both know that Reed is the superior one, but Victor does not want to concede that and would rather fight to the end and have everything be destroyed, and then acknowledge that Reed is his better.
But have we all seen the plot leak to what actually is going on?
I've not, and I prefer not to know. I was
going to say it's. No, I won't tell you because it's.
So I got a theory because looking at all this concept art, they're heavily pulling from Marvel 1602 and 1603 from Secret Wars, right? Like you can tell.
That
I got
feudal medieval look.
Yeah,
I mean that's kind of what Battleworld was for Hickman.
It was.
Right? It was very much the 60s. Like everything was that old timey King Queen Arthurian.
So I have this theory that they're gonna give a big middle finger to Todd McFarlane because I suspect Angela is gonna show up in this film. Spawn's sister, who Marvel now owns. And be like, I'm another one of Thor's siblings.
Yeah, she probably will, depending on what they want to use the Thors for. Because
if they even use the Thors, I hope they do.
They probably can, because they were just a police force for most of it.
Like even if you just see like a bunch of Thors policing everything, like that's all I want. Yeah. That's all I'd need.
How about the Warriors 3 come back, but not with Zachary Levi?
He wasn't even in the Warriors 3 the last time it happened, so it's fine.
Good. We don't want him.
They did recast him, didn't they? I'm not making that up. I'm certain they recast him.
Like for Ragnarok?
I think for Ragnarok, yeah.
No, the original one was the one that went to ABC's, what's it called, Once Upon a Time, and then Zachary Levi took over for the next appearance.
Okay. That's unfortunate.
Hold the phone. Was it Captain Hook from Once Upon a Time?
No,
it wasn't Colin O'Donoghue.
It was the good guy who was married to Snow White. I can't remember his name right now.
Oh, you're right. You're right. No, he's really fun. He was in that.
Bring back the Warriors 3 and make them Doom's Warrior 3 or something, and make them like enforcers. I'd be down for that. That'd be cool.
I'm into that. A lot. I like I said, for the casting and representation angle, I am like really putting all my chips on evil Tony. And I love the idea of like it being Tony who kind of comes up with this like really vulgar version of the Avengers, like what you're saying with like, the Thor Corps, and like there's a planet of Hulks off to the side because or just like a colony of Hulks because God knows this is impossible to control. So just leave them to their own devices off in wherever. It's part of why I love the idea of it being Peter at the final battle, to like go toe to toe with like, like Iron Doom, to go like, hey, to bring Tony back to his better impulses, because if we go that route, I love the idea of it being like Tony taking, I want to put a suit of armor around the world and expanding that out to, I want to put a suit of armor around reality. And it having to be Peter who did ground him so much, and the loss of Peter being, what sprung Tony into being willing to put on the suit again and do the time heist and do all of those things. I'm just so stuck on this idea of Tony learned all the wrong lessons from these stories, learned all the wrong lessons from his own movies and from the Avengers films, and especially Infinity War, where like, to have it be Peter looking at him and going, hey, my Tony gave his life, and gave up everything to save me and trillions of other people. What the hell are you doing? Because this is not helping people. And I love the idea of it ending there. And again, it just being this like screwed up version of the Avengers at his disposal. Tony fully taking advantage of like, how, for lack of a better term, malleable some of the Black Widows can be, and putting Yelena in that position.
So, I like this idea that somebody was pointing it out, and I don't know if I still believe it, but again, I don't want this to be Doctor Doom. People are saying that the reason you see all the art and it's Doctor Doom and not Robert Downey Jr. is because there will be like a twist reveal about the real Doctor Doom pulling strings. And I'm like,
that's too much.
I do feel like,
too much.
It's like you drop Doctor Doom and Tony, Doctor Doom, Robert Downey Jr. does all these things. And then finally we get to the end of Doomsday and it's like, but I'm the real Doctor Doom. You're like,
So that one was a Doom bat all along.
yeah, I
I
don't
mean,
know.
even that, like, I know that's what Doom does a lot, but even that would be,
Yeah, it's
right?
a easy. Yeah, I'm not feeling it. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Either have
listen,
it be like an amalgamation, or it's just, as Jared was saying, it's a Tony Stark that's learned all the wrong lessons.
yep, that's got to be it in my
Like there
opinion.
wasn't that grounding factor of like, or even a case of like Age of Ultron didn't happen because Ultron was fine.
Mhm.
yeah.
Like it's that really cocky thing of Stark was right at every corner.
What
whereas
if
the
he
MCU one
created
was wrong.
Jocasta instead of Ultron? So hear me
Wasn't
out.
Jocasta that concept art for Vision Quest?
It is, yeah. Maybe that's
Yeah.
how they'll tie it all together. I don't know.
Is that
could
who
be-
James
Maybe.
Spade is voicing? Like, is that what's going to happen?
no girl-fi in James Spader's voice. That would be amazing.
No, I think that is the most compelling angle, and you could see a lot of the bones of that. Like I was talking on Nerd Academy when we were discussing the concept art, and everybody loves to share around that panel of Doom doing like a Mortal Kombat fatality on Thanos. And there's a part of me that thinks that, like, again, because the movie going audience associates the killing of Thanos with Iron Man, that like that would be such a fun inversion. Like you were saying, Mitch, like, everything went Tony's way up to Infinity War, and that shatters his psyche fully. Like even worse than it did in Endgame, where he has his incredible, rant at Cap. I love the idea of them like recreating that panel of like, oh, like our Iron Man, Sacred Timeline Iron Man has this moment of like defiant triumph. I am Iron Man, and does a reversal on Thanos's army. I love the idea that like once Tony like succumbs to this madness and becomes obsessed with magic and the arcane and the supernatural, and he like melds his scientific prowess with like all of this magical gobbledygook, that he then goes one-on-one with Thanos, and we get that moment of him just ripping his spine out. Because I think audiences would love it. I think it's one of those panels that, despite it being devoid of context, people love it. And I think it would be a great moment to be like, this is not a hero. This is a man who's like out for blood and is so incredibly self-obsessed and puts himself.
So how do we think he gets the magic then? Because I've got an idea, but
what's your idea? I just assumed that like he'd be like, oh, I failed. I need more. I need to add magic to my repertoire.
I think that's exactly what it is. But I think you take it to Iron Man 3 and he loses Pepper.
Okay.
Oh.
You take that Doctor Doom trying to save his mum, but it's Tony Stark trying to save Pepper.
Yeah. Okay.
And like he does everything he's done in the MCU so far, but none of that works. So he turns to
he like storms the sanctum and steals the magic books and stuff, trying to study and find ways. Yeah.
And
that could honestly
that's why
work.
you have an Iron Man suit with a cape and a hood in it, and he just slowly over time melds onto him.
The magic then
sorry. I also do like with the concept art that they are doing like White Cloak Doom. Like obviously I know Doom has worn that outfit in the comics. I know that Doom has worn that outfit in the comics, especially in Secret Wars. But like I really am happy that like it feels like they're trying to create a very clear delineation between like this Doom right here when he's wearing white is evil Tony Stark, and when we do actual Doom to be like the main antagonist of the Fantastic Four, he will be decked out in that like dark emerald green. Like,
I think you still get
I like that
RDJ in the green.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to just wear white. I kind of wanted to just be white and gold.
Well, here's the thing, because white is that like I am the I'm holier than now, right? It's that I am perfect. I think you have to have him in the green at least for Doomsday. The white is what he ends up in at the end of that movie when
he wins.
When he is God King Doom, that's when you have the white. When he has the powers of the Beyonder, that's when he goes white.
No, that's fair. I mean, granted, they already showed the logo and it's very green, so he'll probably be wearing green. But there's a part of me that's like, no, like literally just color code this stuff for the general audience so they can't get confused. White Doctor Doom is Robert Downey Jr. Like, just leave it all over there.
I mean, White Doom is RDJ anyway, right? You don't need him to wear white. Right?
So.
The concept art is very compelling. I'm very just befuddled by all of it.
That concept art got me more hyped than anything else. So I think that leak was great, to take care of some of my worries I had. But again,
I'm just worried it's not going to materialize. That's my only fear now.
Same. Yeah. Yep.
It's like we have this movie that's never going to happen. Like, was this? Who was writing it before? Was it Waldron? Michael
Yeah,
Waldron?
Waldron.
It,
Yep.
like, is that his Secret Wars?
Because
Or
it
is
makes
that
sense because it was titled 2002 to 2024, and the Russo brothers took over right there. So it's like, you know, like
is that how much? Yeah, hopefully it's the Russos. They said they wanted to do Secret Wars before, like years ago, anyway. So hopefully they stick with it. But
yeah.
who knows at this point?
Luckily, we'll know. Well, we got Doomsday in about a year and 2 months,
Which is
so
crazy.
we'll probably have the
Which is
trailer
crazy.
8 months or so from now, which is absolutely insane.
I kind of want them to repeat Endgame again.
Same.
I
Yep.
think you go all the way back and leave it to a month out, and then be like, "Hey, by
Just
the
drop
way,
it and show only like 1 5-minute sequence in all the trailers, just like Infinity War and Endgame. You're like, what is happening here with this trailer? Like, you know nothing. Yeah, I'm kind of feeling that too. You know, I hope their marketing sticks this, but I feel like their marketing is going to be like, you asked for the old, they're all back. It's like, oh,
You know, there's a cynical part of me that like is so. I think a lot of the conversations about the multiverse saga in the MCU and just like the multiverse craze in popular culture in general, again, like you have people who refuse to engage with the stories on either side of it. You have the people who refuse to engage and dismiss it out of hand and don't want to appreciate what these stories are telling. They just want to, in very bad faith, go, oh, look at everybody playing with their action figures, nostalgia act, nostalgia act, nostalgia act. And then you have the other people who in bad faith don't appreciate what these stories are about, and they just want to do the thing that the other side is criticizing, where it's like, give me Toby, give me Hugh, give me Andrew, give me Wesley Snipes, give me, you know, whatever. And it's I just want to see this old thing. I don't care about the context. I just want it. And there's a cynical part of me that I hate that I just want to be like, let all of these like legacy characters, like the old ones, like let Toby and Andrew and Wesley Snipes and, you know, Tom Jane Punisher and whoever the hell else you want to throw in, Hugh Jackman Wolverine, throw them all in there to be cannon fodder for Doom. Like there's a part of me that just that I want to watch the fanboys cry, and I want to watch, and I want to be able to look the I want to make the fanboys cry, and I want to look the, like, again, unfair bad faith critics in the face and go, that was devastating to watch, wasn't it? That hurt, didn't it? It's kind of like your previous attachment to these characters was used brilliantly by the narrative, wasn't it?
I saw one of those like bad faith TikTok people talking about, and he you know, this guy gets tons of views, and he was talking about what can save the MCU, and his explanation of Doomsday was literally like, okay, all the legacy characters are back, and they're the Avengers, and they fight Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom, and then the MCU people come in at the end. I'm like, and all the comments are like, this is perfect, this is the movie I want. I'm like, all of you are drinking nostalgia juice. You're actual idiots if this is what you want. Like, that's not going to work. It's...
listening to this, I'd much rather have Jared's version where all his legacy characters are getting one shot or killed, and establishing that this Doom is not to be played with, and that is going to need a specific set of people to actually try and take him down, than that my character from my youth is saving the day.
Yeah.
I honestly hope none of that happens, and the reason why we've been getting it for the last several years is because they were getting out of the way. And they're like, hey, here's the thing you wanted, that's over there now. We are not devaluing this movie to go for one side or the other. We are this is its own movie. This is, you've had that. Of course, that's what I
want. You want to see Nick Cage as Ghost Rider again? It's awesome.
I want Dr. Doom to open up a portal to his castle and invite the Avengers in. And when they're like, we're going to take you on, he's like, do you like my taxidermied version of Spider-Man? And it's Tobey Maguire's body just hanging up there all like, you know, he's like...
I mean, in fairness, that is 100% what Hickman's Doom in Secret Wars would and did do.
And that's what
if we don't get the Thing as the wall and Johnny as the sun, I'm not going to lie, I'm going to be kind of fucking mad.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. I was like, I hope that you get to see a mountain range, and it's just this thing, and someone tells him to throw hands, and he gets his ass up, and he's in a fight.
Yeah.
It's just Cousin from the Bear, just like, oh.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hopefully you guys enjoyed this topic as well. We gave you guys a little bit more time, and also more time because Jared was on here, so we wanted to use him while he's here to
Oh,
offer up
like
all-
controlling
means-
Jared's yapping is a choice.
I was gonna say, yeah. Mitch said the quiet part out loud. Armin was doing the polite, gracious version of Jared is bloviating, like can't stop yapping, whatever. So
No more
fine.
Jared.
God, the funniest comment I've ever read was, "Dear God, please not another Jared episode. I'm not going anywhere, motherfucker."
I literally took that and I pinned it up top. I was like, this might be my favorite comment I've ever gotten. It's good. So as always, everybody, that has been the podcast. We are going to do a quick bonus topic for you guys. We're going to talk a little bit about Groot and the Guardians' future. So hopefully we see you there for the membership. So again, thank you for joining us. Make sure you guys go follow Jared, follow Mitch, follow Tristan, find all of us on those link trees. And if you want more terrible and bore takes, Jared's going to have you covered for that. So see you next time.
Yeah.
Okay, the bonus topic, and Jared is still on and bore.
That's my lasting legacy. That is. That's it.
Thank you for checking out that video, and thank you for your continued support. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, do whatever you will. And if you're so inclined and would like some additional content from us, which includes unfiltered content and bonus discussions, we do offer exclusively in our member section. We hope to see you there. So thank you for watching, and have a good one.